I just have to press record. Hi everyone, welcome back to YouTube. I'll be so honest, this is the last thing that I want to be doing right now. I don't know what, but the problem is like, I don't even know what the first thing that I would want to be doing right now is. Again, decided that I am going to keep making promises to myself to do the things that I've always wanted to do. I have always wanted to be on YouTube, have a presence on YouTube. I'm going to show up on this space at least once a week, so that way I can build the confidence and the consistency that I need to feel like I actually belong on this platform. If you don't actually do the thing, you're never going to actually feel confident in it. And I know that like I'm going to put something out and it's probably not going to be very good. And that's okay. I'm here to learn and grow and thrive in any environment that I am given. I love the idea of building myself into hard tasks, and that is what we're going to talk about today, is the hard tasks that I've been doing all week. I am pursuing bodybuilding. I am working on doing my first show later this year, probably early in the fall. This is something that I have been planning to do for a little over a year now. I've been working with a coach, and the whole plan was for us to get on stage. We did one full cycle of cutting back when we started in June, went to a maintenance phase, a small surplus, and then we have gone back into dieting, which started later in February. So it feels like I've been dieting forever. You know, I would never recommend doing a dieting phase for this long, but I've had this goal and I've had a couple of hiccups that have maybe pushed off the timeline a little bit and not being completely ready, working with God's timing. And I've gotten sick a couple of times during this prep, which has probably pushed my progress out a little bit. We had originally planned to compete sometime in July, and obviously it didn't happen because it is July now. This past week, I've been trying to think like, what am I going to do for YouTube this week and how am I going to provide value? And I have to remind myself that I am literally here for myself, and I want this space again to be more stream of consciousness so I can look back on it, and I think eventually like more ideas like themes or topics will come up, but at this very point in time it's just about me showing up and doing what feels right, and what feels right is me just talking about how my week went and the things that I learned. I met with my coach a week ago on Sunday in person. He has been my online coach for the last year, but he used to actually be my boss. My boss at my job now, where I work full-time as a trainer. And he used to see me all the time, and then he got, I would say, a promotion and was able to move to another location and start up a new gym with the same company and work there as the head trainer, lead trainer. I miss him so much every day. I do, but I mean, I have another boss now who's arguably just as amazing. He's only really seen me through check-in photos, so we decided, that we should do an in-person check-in, get a training session in, do some posing, see what I'm looking like, see what we're working with for in terms of like a runway. Because at that point we would have been about 11 weeks out from a potential show that I had picked in Fort Lauderdale. This is the time to push the needle. The last cut that I did, we only really managed to get up to an hour of cardio total. However, I have, in my time being a spectator of the sport, I would say, I have watched other girls go through periods of hour and a half of cardio. That's exactly what we decided to do slowly through this prep, right? You can't do everything at once. You don't start a dieting phase and say, I'm going to do, after doing 20 minutes of cardio per se for 4 days a week, you're not going to just jump right into a dieting phase and say, oh, now I'm going to do an hour and a half and I'm going to cut my calories to 1300, because that's not going to work. Your body's going to be like, what the fuck are we doing? We're also just not conditioned, right? Take on those types of challenges, those types of changes. And it's a very interesting metaphor in terms of business and growing a business. We're not able to have the capacity to handle all of that, at the moment. So that's why when I take on clients and stuff, like it's about like the slow incremental process of change. I couldn't tell someone who just picked up off the street saying they wanted to start working out in the gym and just say, okay, well, now we're going to get you on a meal plan, and now we're going to get you on the Stairmaster, and now you're going to train 5 times a week. Like, that's just not doable. It's not reasonable. It's crazy to ask someone to be able to do that. It's definitely in the realm of possibilities for someone maybe who has a lot of time on their hands and just wants to get going, but then too, like you still run the risk of someone not being identified with that purpose and just falling right off the wagon and going back to being how they were at the beginning. Slow incremental changes are always the priority, and doing a dieting phase, doing a bodybuilding prep is no different. Slowly increasing step count, slowly decreasing food, slowly increasing cardio, trying to keep training the exact same in terms of intensity, if not even more intense than before. Not only is it about, yes, like burning the calories, but of course the preservation of lean muscle is the importance, right? Because I can't go on a bodybuilding stage looking like a limp noodle, and that's not what the goal is, you know, when you enter into a competition. We had started implementing 90 minutes of cardio for 5 days a week, and that is not something that I would put on a lifestyle client ever. You know, I would never recommend that to somebody unless they were in the process of going through a bodybuilding prep, which eventually I would love to take on clients who would like to go through this process. Doing this incredibly rewarding, and as hard as it is, I am learning so much about myself, and I think that was part of why I wanted to hire a coach in the first place and start undertaking this section of fitness, was because, you know, I knew in my head that it was going to be so good in terms of physical appearance, in terms of my own training capacity, but also as a personal growth and self-development journey. I felt like before I had started working with someone and really focusing on tracking macros, doing a meal plan, being so disciplined and so diligent, I really let food take over my life, in the sense of I would stress eat a lot, and I knew that, you know, I was doing that when I had started working with a coach, because a lot of times I would feel so anxious and so stressed out back last year before, you know, building a business, like living paycheck to paycheck, not really sure like what my paychecks were going to look like, if God was going to help me out with this, you know, this like the beginning seasons of building a business. And I would come home and I would never eat like bad food. I was never ordering out. Maybe I was a little bit, but it was always like the healthy choices, right? Like it was like the fresh kitchen and the sweet green and all that stuff that seems really healthy, but also just like has a shit ton of fat in it. And you realize that it's actually so bad. It's like so calorically dense, and like, not that it's bad for you, but it's just like a little bit more than what you actually need. I knew that this was going to be a challenge for me, because I was going to have to be forced to deal with my emotions head on, rather than stuffing them down with food and eating until I was so full. In my mind, I was like, well, I'm eating really high protein. Like I should eat a bunch of protein and like I'll feel fine. I'll work it off the next day. And you know, that stuff really catches up to you before you even realize it. Because I never really thought I looked that bad. Things could have been a lot worse, but I look back at old pictures and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, really crazy what can happen when you lock the fuck in. The changes in my body composition has helped me change my entire life. I am the most confident person I have ever been, and I have always, oh my god, I get emotional talking about it. I feel extremely fortunate that my confidence that I feel that I have earned through doing really hard shit and being very disciplined led me down an incredible path, and my business has never been better. And that is what I do it all for, you know? I think that like I've started to show up in this one area for myself, and everything else was just kind of like a ripple effect that started to blossom and bloom. And that's not to say that I don't have problems now. It's not to say that things are not still really hard and I still don't have issues, you know, and deal with things, but I'm really grateful for investing in this and it being so. Start with working with a coach. I take videos of myself all the time, right? I sit down and I film essentially like I'm doing right now, except with a little, there's been times, and there was times before I was like, I want to take social media more seriously. There was times when I would sit down and be incredibly disheveled with the process that I was going through last year. I found a video not too long ago, and I kind of forgot that it existed, but I had just moved into this apartment, and this is like my dream apartment in South Beach that I've always pictured myself living in. And I love where I live. I think it's like, it's super cute, it's quaint, it's like, it's old, but it has so much character to it. And I'm surrounded by palm trees, and I live in this duplex kind of neighborhood with a couple of other duplexes, and there's a bunch of like trees and flowers. It's like so beautiful outside, and every time I walk outside, and I forget to be more present and enjoy it as much as I know I should. But anyways, I have this video of when I first moved in, and it was like 9 o'clock at night, and I had all the lights shut off in here, and I had my phone sitting on my coffee table, and I was bawling my eyes out, like you know, like couldn't even catch my breath, bawling my eyes out, just being like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, there has to be a reason for all of this. Just, you know, I'm like, why did I decide to sign up for it? Like, and what's crazy is that nothing that you do ever makes sense in the moment, really. I mean, I feel like most things don't really ever make sense in the moment. Especially if you're going forward and pursuing a challenge, like building a business, or like doing something like a bodybuilding prep, or training for a High Rocks. You know, those types of things, and you're just in I was just in the shit, and I find that I am now too, but I'm just sitting here and questioning, like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this, there has to be reason behind all of this. And I went back and like looked at that video, and that was probably back in July or August, some point, probably 2 months after I started working with a coach. And I was saying, like, it's so expensive to have a coach, and you know, the training is so much. Like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I doing this for? Just like going over and over and over again. And I guess the point of me saying all this was, after looking back and seeing where I've been from that point up until a year now, I understand it, right? Like, it all makes sense that I was so confused, and I didn't understand, and I didn't know like what the road was. Like, I didn't even know, I couldn't tell you what it was 10 feet ahead. I couldn't tell you what it was like 2 feet ahead. It was like, I was just lost in the sauce, but I was like, I don't know what it is, but I just have to keep fucking going. I'm going to be so upset if I give up on myself, if I disappoint myself. And that's also been a major theme as I have started to pursue this challenge. And when I talk to people about the idea of me doing a show and competing, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. And sometimes I think it does come from a very sincere spot, genuine concern, genuine curiosity about the sport and why I'm doing it, or how I'm doing it, and who my coach is, and like the what's the process of it, and if I want to do it, like how can I get into it. And then there's also the side of people who I think are coming at it from a place of jealousy and purposely trying to derail whatever good thing that I have going for me, or whatever good thing that you have going for you. And people are projecting their own beliefs onto you, or whatever goal that you have, based off of their own experiences that as it pertains to that goal. So not too long ago, I had someone really like berate me on why I was doing a show, and he was like, well, what's the point? Like, why are you doing this? And I like started to cry, because sometimes I don't know I can't like articulate an answer to the question, and I don't think that we have to know either. That's not the point. Like, it's not the point to have to know the answer as to why we're doing the things that we're doing, as long as it's not hurting or harming someone else. And me doing a bodybuilding show is not harming anyone. And I was getting these questions, and I was like very upset and very concerned with the fact, I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't do it. And I went through a very, like, it was a very dark, like, night of the soul situation where I was like, I should just cut this whole thing, fire my coach, go off and do my own thing, or just stay lean like this for now and not continue to go down in weight. And what's so wild is, like, the opinions of others have such a large dictation of what we perceive of ourselves. So I used to always say, like, you should tell everybody your goals, because you don't know, like, who's here to help you and what advice that they have and how it's going to help you up level into your next life. And I think that mentality is beautiful. I do. And I think it's healthy, because I think that a lot of times we are surrounded by so much negativity in the world, and I'm someone that I truly want to see the best in everybody and all people, but sometimes that gets me into not into the best places, I guess. So I've kind of started to hold back from telling people that I was going to pursue something like this. And also, I think too, when I did start, I wasn't going to tell anyone. I was going to keep it very private and keep it very secretive. But unfortunately, I am, like, the least nonchalant person that has ever existed. And I pour my heart out into everything that I do. And I also like to document things. Like, I think that it's fun, and I love that there's a creative side to it. And I don't want to say sorry for it. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say sorry for wanting to express myself and wanting to express and wanting to showcase the things that I'm learning as I go through this process. And it was extremely, extremely hard for me last week when my cardio shifted and we started doing 90 minutes, 5 days a week. And in my head, I was like, my social media content is going to be shit now. I'm going to have no energy for my clients. I'm going to be in a shit mood. Guess what? All 3 of those fucking things happened. And I really think that, like, I mean, I gave my all and my everything into my sessions, but I could tell that I did start to front load my cardio during the week because I didn't want to have to do it over the weekend. And I could tell that as my sessions were going on later in the week, I was not well. I was like, this is really hard. Like, my energy is just is bottom. Like, we're here. We're here. Whereas it's normally here. And that was a very difficult thing for me to face and to realize that I was like, I can't even give my 100% right now. I'm probably at like 85. And I feel lucky that I do think that my 85 is good, but for me, it's like my 85 is pretty decent. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I think it's not bad, but I also know what I'm capable of, and I know that I can be extremely, what I love about training too is that, like, yes, some clients I do have on a very strict and regimented program, but other clients, like, they come in and I use my creativity for a lot of stuff that they need and the knowledge that I have. And that's what's fun about it is I'm like, okay, like, let's readjust. Something, you know, like a machine is taken. Like, how can we implement this same exercise, utilize these same muscle groups, and do a completely different exercise from what we wanted to do? I think that's one of the things I love about my job. But I started to have an understanding that I was like, that same zhuzh is not coming to me this time around. And as someone who, you know, the other thing too is, like, I chase perfection in everything, and it doesn't, and for my clients and my sessions, it's no different, right? Like, I'm in those sessions and I want it to be seamless and perfect. And a lot of the times I think I almost get there with most people. And I you know, I want to make sure that there is such an art to being a trainer. Like, you have to be able to calibrate your own energy into what the other person is coming in with. And then on top of that, making sure you meet them where they're at, right? If they're coming in, or sometimes your energy has to be a little bit higher than what theirs is. And I came in, I like coming into sessions and kind of checking the temperature, seeing where we're at, giving people the time and space to like drop into their bodies and let go of whatever is going on in their outside world, because it's just me and my client at that point. And giving them those moments, starting with stabilization exercises and then moving into some heavy compound lifts and working in some accessory stuff after. And the art to it is that like there is a flow to the session, right? I want people to come in and feel centered and feel present, and then we go and ramp up their cortisol, let them push some heavy shit, do some other hard stuff that they probably didn't think that they could do, and then wrap it all up and hopefully get them sweating and having good conversation and letting them leave feeling better than how they walked in is the main priority. And when I am depleted in food, eating like, I don't even want to say how many calories, depleted in food, doing extreme amounts of cardio, walking all the time, it's like, and then doing 8 sessions in a row, it's like I'm at bottom. I don't have any mental space for anything. And I was even shocked that I could come up on here today and do this, because even though that today is like, I did train already this morning, I still have 45 minutes left of cardio to go and do later. I'm shocked that I even turned this camera on. I was like, this is going to be really hard for me today. And I told myself that I was going to film today. I told myself that was what was going to happen, and it's done, and I did it. And I got to share a little bit about my story, about my journey with bodybuilding, and eventually, yes, I would like to be able to plan these a little bit better, plan these YouTubes better. I don't think when you do anything for the first couple of times, it's never going to be that good. And not to say that like these videos aren't good, but I don't think I'm at the capacity at which they could be. Sometimes in life, like, sacrifices have to be made. If you're doing 100 different things at once, how do you expect to be able to put 100% of your full intention and full energy into every single task if you're spreading yourself too thin? And for me, it was like, I had to come to this conclusion in my brain that I was like, it's my clients and training. It's my clients and training. The social media, the extracurriculars that I do, the horseback riding, that stuff has to go on the back burner for now. Not that it's not going to get done, right? Like, if they think the social media is like a part of it, right? And I've talked to my life coach about like having certain content be ready and be available when I need to post, so I can continue my journey with posting and trusting myself that it will still get done. Maybe I won't have the same kind of creative energy, but being able to understand that like the caliber at which I am operating on for certain things in my life is on the lower end of that, and I want to let bodybuilding and this goal that I've been working towards for the last year be what it is, and stop looking around and asking for opinions of others and just put my fucking blinders on. Like, that's the main thing that I have said to myself all season, where like I'm always looking around at other people and like other girls who are doing shows and how they look versus how I look, and it's like, what am I doing? I'm not those girls. They're not me. I don't have their physique, and I never will have their physique, because I have my own. And that's the power of what this sport is like, that's what makes you so special and so unique, is that I will never have your physique and you will never have mine. I was just watching a YouTube video on this one girl who is an IFBB pro, and she was talking about how so many bodybuilders like we chase perfection in a certain look, but you really go on stage and someone is there, your panel of judges is there, and they're there to point out your flaws. And I think that is like, it's kind of beautiful in the sense that like you'll never be perfect in this sport, and you'll never be perfect in anything that you do, but can you show up and continue to make promises for yourself despite the fact that like not being perfect is scary, because it yields an idea that there will be rejection involved. And that's where a lot of us get so stuck, because it's like, well, if I can't go to the gym and have a perfect lift, then what's the fucking point? If I can't go to the gym, and if I can't, if I didn't track my macros perfectly for one day, then I'm just gonna give up this whole week, because what's the point? Like, I already fucked up once. Like, I don't want to keep fucking everything else up. And it's really not about that, because it's like, you're just gonna throw in the towel when things get hard. Like, that's not gonna take you anywhere. It's just gonna keep you complacent. And there's no doubt that you will fail at everything that you do at least one time. But if you don't, how will you ever get better? How will you ever learn? And we get our feet stuck in the mud of, like, on these topics, and it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, we've become so complacent and okay with being comfortable and okay with settling. It's like, how does that lead you to the life that you want to live? You're sitting, I mean, I think about this sometimes too, but, like, I sit in my apartment sometimes and I think about, like, what my dream life will look like, and I'm like, it's not going to get there, me sitting in my apartment doing nothing, you know, doing nothing and thinking about it. It's like, manifestation works in the way that you have to go out and take action, right? Because if you don't, it's just delulu. It's just delulu. You can't just think your way into a dream life. But I mean, yes and no, right? You have to have the belief behind it, and I think that there are some people that are very powerful and can do that, but not everybody. A lot of times it takes some very consistent action to be able to lead you down that path of where you're meant to be and where you want to be. So yeah, little introduction to bodybuilding and what I have experienced this past week in terms of personal growth and themes. I don't want to keep this video too long. It's been 33 minutes. I'm going to cut some down, so hopefully it won't be so long when I upload it. But if you listened, I love you. If you listened to parts of this, I love you too. If you listen to the first 5 seconds and skipped, I also love you, because I really appreciate the view, and I appreciate anyone that takes the time to listen to something that I have to say. I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm different from you. I don't think I'm special, but I do think that me being able to share my experiences and share and talk about the things that I'm going through will help someone, and hopefully help facilitate growth and facilitate change. And that's the whole point of life, is to change and to grow and to be everything that you've ever wanted to be. So take care of yourself. I love you. Do your cardio. Do something hard today. Meal prep. Go for a walk. Tell your family you love them. Tell your boyfriend you love him. I don't know. Something like that. But let's have a great week. Thank you so much for listening. I love you.